Okay. Oh, okay. Sounds okay. Hello out there in video land. Today we're going to be moving forward and going to Inferno Canto 10. And we'll read it. We'll start by reading it in um, Italian and then in English. And then we will go back and read smaller sections starting at the beginning in English and talking about what we read. And with that being said, let me go to my text. All right. So, Decio, whenever you're ready, Canto 10. Decio, you here? You need to turn on your microphone. There you go.
Canto 10 della Divina Commedia di Dante Alighieri. Ora sen va per un secreto cale tra il muro e la terra e i martiri, lo mio maestro e io dopo le spalle. O virtù somma, che per gli empi giri mi volvi, cominciai, come a te piace parlarmi e soddisfarmi a miei desideri. La gente che per gli sepolcri giace potrebbersi veder già son levati tutti i coperchi e nessun guardia facce. E quelli a me tutti saranno serrati quando di Iosafat chi torneranno coi corpi che lassù hanno lasciati. Suo cimitero da questa parte hanno con Epicuro tutti i suoi seguaci, che l'anima o il corpo morto fanno. Però la domanda che mi facci, quinché entro satisfatto sarà tosto e al disio ancor che tu mi taci. E io, buon duca, non tegno riposto. A te mio cor se non per dicer poco, e tu mai non pur moa ciò disposto. O tosco che per la città del foco vivo ten vai così parlando onesto, piacciati di restare in questo loco. La tua loquela ti fa manifesto di quella nobil patria natio, alla qual forse fui troppo molesto. Subitamente questo suono uscì da una dell'arche, però mi accostai, temendo un poco più al duca mio. Ed él mi disse, volgiti, che fai? Vedi la farinata che c'è dritto, dalla cintura in su tutto lo vedrai. Io avevo già il mio viso nel suo fitto, ed él s'erghea col petto e con la fronte, come avesse l'inferno a gran dispitto. E l'animose man del duca e pronte mi pinse tra le sepolture a lui dicendo, le parole tue sian conte. Com'io al piede la sua tomba fui, guardòmi un poco e poi quasi sdegnoso mi dimandò, chi for li maggior tui? E io che era d'ubbidir desideroso, non li celai, ma tutto liel apersi, onde ei levò le ciglia un poco insuso. Next.
Poi disse fieramente foro avversi a me e a miei primi e a mia parte, sicché per due fiate li dispersi. Se for cacciati e torna ad ogni parte, l'esposio lui, l'una e l'altra fiata, ma i vostri non appresa ben quell'arte. Allor Circe alla vista scoperchiata, un'ombra lungo questa, in finalmente, credo che s'era in ginocchia levata. D'interno mi guardò, come talento, avessi di vedere s'altri era meco, e poi che il sospechar fu tutto spento, piangendo disse, se per questo cieco carcere vai per l'altezza d'ingegno, mio figlio ve, e perché non è teco. E io a lui, da me stesso non vegno, colui c'attende là, per cui mi mena, forse qui guido vostre a disdegno. Le sue parole, il modo della pena, m'avvian di costui già letto il nome, però fu la risposta così piena. Di subito, drizzato, grido come, dicesti egli ebbe? Non vive ancora? Non fieri gli occhi suoi la dolce lume? Quando s'accorse d'alcuna dimora, ch'io facea dinanzi alla risposta, supin ricade e più non parve fora. Next, please.
Deseo.
No, ma quell'altro magnanimo a cui posta restato mi era non mutò aspetto, né mosse collo, né piegò sua costa. E se, continuando al primo terto, se li quelle arti, disse, male appressa, ciò mi tormenta più che questo letto, ma non 50 volte fier ricessa la faccia della donna che chi regge, che tu saprai quando quell'arte pesa. E se tu mai nel dolce mondo regge, dimmi, per quel popolo è sì empio incontra a miei in ciascuna sua legge, onde io a lui lo strazio il grande sempio che fece l'arbia colorata in rosso, tal orison fa nel nostro tempio. Poi che ebbe, sospirando il capo mosso, ma ciò non fu io sol, disse, né certo senza cagion con gli altri sarei mosso. Ma fu io solo, là dove sofferto fu per ciascun di torre via Fiorenza, colui che la difese viso aperto. De se ripose mai vostra semenza, prega io lui, solvetemi quel nodo che qui ha sviluppata mia sentenza, e par che voi vigiate, se ben odo, dinanzi quel che il tempo secco adduce, nel presente tenete altro modo. Noi vigiam come quei che ha mala luce, le cose disse, che ne son lontano con tanto ancor che splendi il sommo luce. Quando s'appressano o son tutto è vano nostro intelletto, e se altri non ci apporta, nulla sapen di vostro stato umano. Next.
Però comprender puoi che tutta morta fia nostra conoscenza da quel punto che del futuro fia chiusa la porta. Allora, come di mia colpa compunto, disse, odirete dunque a quel caduto, che il suo nato e convivi ancor congiunto. E si fui, dianzi, alla iposta muto. Fate il saper che il fe perché pensava, gie nell'error che m'avete soluto. E Gial maestro mi chiamava per chi pregai lo spirito pui avvacchio che mi dicesse chi con lui stava. Disseme, qui compui de mille Giacchio, qua dentro il secondo Federico, il cardinale, e degli altri mi tacchio. In saccosse e lo che è io in verl antico, poeta, voci e passi, e pisando, e che il parlar che mi paria nimico. E si mosse, e poi, così andando, mi disse, perché se tu si San Marito, e io li soddisfeci a suo dimando. La mente tua conserve che chiudito hai contra te, mi comando, che il saggio, e ora attende chi, e drizzo il dito. Quando sarai dinanzi al dolce raggio di quel il cui bell'occhio tutto vede, da lei saprai di tua vita il vagio. Appresso, mosse a man sinistra il piede, lasciamo il muro e ghimo in verlo meso per un sentier ca una valle fiede che fin la sua faccia si piacer sua leso.
Okay.
All
Do you
right.
want me to change the reading list, Duncan? Because I had you in last just to give you a break.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Is that okay? And I'll add Sylvia. So, and is Dave there or not?
Yeah, let me get the
Hi.
translation.
Oh,
Dave
he
is
is.
here. Dave is here.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Excellent.
Oh,
We'll
yes.
add
Okay.
you. We will add
Sorry,
you to
it's lunchtime here. I didn't think everybody wanted to watch me eating. So okay.
the list. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Anne, you're going to start, or are you? Let's see what's going
Indeed.
on for
I'm here.
English. There we go. Okay.
There we go. Now, 10 to 10. Now onward goes. Okay. Now onward goes along a narrow path between the torments and the city wall. My master and I follow at his back. O power supreme, that through these impious circles trusted me, or turnest me, I began as pleases thee. Speak to me, and my longings satisfy. The people who are lying in these tombs, might they be seen already as are uplifted, the covers all, and no one keep it guard. And he to me, they all will be closed up, when from Jerusalem, they shall return, here with the bodies they have left above. Their cemetery have upon this shade with Epicurus all his followers, who with the body mortal make the soul. But in the question thou dost put to me, within here shalt thou soon be satisfied, and likewise in the wish thou keepest silent. And I, good leader, I but keep concealed from thee my heart, that I may speak the less. Not only now hast thou thereto disposed me, O Tuscan thou, who through the city of fire goest alive, thou speaking modestly, be pleased to stay thy footsteps in this place. Next, please.
Thy mode of speaking makes thee manifest, a native of that noble fatherland, to which perhaps I too molestful was. Upon a sudden issued forth this sound from out one of the tombs, wherefore I pressed, fearing a little nearer to my leader. And unto me he said, Turn thee, what dost thou? Behold their Farinata, who has risen. From thee waist upwards, wholly shalt thou see him. I had already fixed mine eyes on his, and he uprose erect with breast and front, even as if hell he had in great despite. And with courageous hands and prompt my leader thrust me between the sepulchres toward him, exclaiming, Let thy words explicit be. As soon as I was at the foot of his tomb, somewhat he eyed me, and, as if disdainful, then asked of me, Who were thine ancestors? I, who desirous of obeying was, concealed it not, but all revealed to him, whereat he raised his brows a little upward. Next, please.
Then said he, First adverse have they been to me, and to my father, and my party, so that to several times I scattered them. If they were banished, they returned on all sides, and answered him the first time and the second, but yours have not acquired that art aright. Then there uprose upon the side uncovered, down to the chin, a shadow at his side. I think that he had risen on his knees. Round me he gazed, as if solicitude he had to see if someone else were with me. But after his suspicion was outspent, weeping, he said to me, If thou is blind, if truth is blind, presume thou goest by loftiness of genius, where is my son? And why is he not with thee? And I to him, I come not of myself. He who is waiting yonder leads me here, whom in disdain perhaps your Guido had. His language and the mode of punishment already unto me had read his name. On that account my answer was so full. Up starting suddenly, he cried out, How sayest thou? He had. Is he not still alive? Does not his sweet light strike upon his eyes? Next.
He became aware of some delay, which I before my answer made, supine. He fell again, and forth appeared no more. But the other, magnanimous, at whose desire I had remained, did not his aspect change, neither his neck he moved, nor bent his side. And if, continuing his first discourse, thou have that art, he said, had not learned aright, that more tormented me than doth this bed. but 50 times shall not rekindle be the countenance of the lady who reigns here, ere thou shalt know how heavy is that art. And as thou wouldst to the sweet world return, say why that people is so pitiless against my race in each of its laws. Next, please.
I answer, the massacre and the butchery that stained the waters of Arbia red now cause such laws to issue from our councils. He sighed, shaking his head. It was not I alone took part, he said, nor certainly would I have joined the rest without good cause. But I alone stood up when all of them were ready to have Florence erased. It was I who openly stood up in her defense. And now, as I would have your seed find peace, I said, I beg you to resolve a problem that has made my reason tangled in a knot. If I have heard correctly, all of you can see ahead to what the future holds, but your knowledge of the present is not clear. Down here, we see like those with faulty vision who only see, he said. What's at a distance? This much the sovereign Lord grants us here. When events are close to us or when they happen, our mind is blank, and were it not for others, we would know nothing of your living state. Thus you can understand how all our knowledge will be completely dead at that time when the door to future things is closed forever. Next.
At this, my conscience smote me. I again addressed him. Tell that fallen shade, I pray, his son still walks in the world of living men. If I was silent when he asked me, say 'twas only that my wits were in a worry, snared by the air which you've swept away. And now my guide was calling me to hurry, wherefore I urged the shade with greater haste to say who else was in that cemetery. I lie, he said, with thousands in this chest. In this chest the second Frederick lies. Our ranks include the cardinal. I will not name the rest. He spoke and sank, returning to where stood the ancient poet. I pondered what they meant, those words which seemed to bode me little good. Then he moved on, and later as we went, why so distraught? Said he. I set to work answering his question to his full content. Sagely he bade me, see thou mind and mark those adverse warnings. Now, to what I say, and here he raised his finger, prithee hark, when thou shalt stand bathed in the glorious ray of hers whose blessed eyes see all things complete, thou'lt learn the meaning of thy life's whole way. With that, weaving the wall, we turned our feet toward the center by a path that ran down to a vale whose fumes rose high to greet our nostrils, even where our descent began.
All right.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So time to read small pieces again and then confirm we have some understanding of what we're reading.
Right, goes on. Okay. Now onward goes along a narrow path between the torments and the city wall. My master and I follow at his back. O power supreme, that through these empty circles turnest me, I began, as pleases thee, speak to me and my longings satisfy. The people who are lying in these tombs, might they be seen? Already are uplifted the covers all, and no one keep guard. And heed to me, the all will be closed up, when from Jerusalem they shall return here with the bodies they have left above. Okay. Their cemetery have upon this side with Epicurus, all his followers, who with the body mortal make the soul. But in the question that thou hast put to me, where within here shalt thou soon be satisfied, and likewise in the wish thou keepest silence. And I, good leader, I would keep concealed from thee my heart, that I may speak the less. Not only now hast thou thereto disposed to me. Is that enough for you?
Yeah, I think that's enough.
Yeah, that's kind of the end.
Mhm. So the first part seems pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
They're just walking along. And then Dante asks Virgil a question.
Yeah.
And the question is, who are these people in these sepulchres? And informs us that these are sepulchres, but the tops are open. So where's Jehoshaphat?
Yeah.
That
Who
is
is Joseph?
Excuse me?
Who
No,
is Joseph?
No. Wait, Anne, were you going to say something?
According to the note here, it's a valley outside Jerusalem. The popular belief that it would serve as the scene of the Last Judgment.
Yeah. It's between Jerusalem and the Mount of Olives.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It's an actual place then.
Place. Yeah.
It's
And the
from
final judgment.
and it's from the Old Testament prophet Joel. 3
Okay.
2. Well, do you know? I don't know about this. Does anybody else?
Oh, I see. Okay, so my note from Hollander says Jehoshaphat is the valley in Palestine in which, according to Joel, Book 3, Chapter 2, all will be gathered for the last judgment.
Who is the Doomsday? Doomsday.
The judgment day. Okay. You'll be gathered when they show. Okay, so they're in the graves. They're going to be taken to Jehoshaphat, and then they're going to come,
To get
and
their
they're going to
bodies
pick
back.
up their bodies up from above and bring them back.
So I think
Could be
that's
one
the
of them.
belief that that's the last judgment. We get reunited with our bodies. Is that? Can somebody help me out with this? I think that's it.
Yes, it is.
Right.
That's my understanding.
Right. Now, Anne, my question always is, what if at the last judgment I would prefer not to be reassociated with this particular body and march through eternity with it? Like, do I get to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, or like? What's the
No. You're
Oh, I didn't think
you're
so.
still Dave.
I
Okay.
just wonder, when I get cremated, what's going to happen?
Yes. Well, me too. That's right.
We'll have
Well,
great fun trying to put me back together. It'll be like a sandcastle.
Yeah. As you will find out multiple times, this particular idea of the bodies being resurrected is one that does not go down easy with me.
Me too.
There's
And
lots.
by the way, the Epicurists were those that didn't believe in the afterlife, the transcendency of soul.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't believe in it.
The Epicureans
Bullshit.
didn't believe in the afterlife.
I don't believe in it.
Well, in full disclosure, I go back and forth on that about an afterlife, but the idea of the body, the resurrection of the body with the original body, just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
It's
if
kind
you
of like
are burned, when you die, if you are burned, where is your body?
That's a good question. That's what Ann and I are wondering too, Decio, because we're going to be
yeah, and which body? I mean,
Where is it?
we're old enough to know that bodies change over time.
Dude.
Became ashes, just ashes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but when you're buried, your body goes to dust or
The
ashes.
worms. The worms.
No, there's nothing. Sobering thought.
Indeed.
But I remember when the Challenger blew up.
Right.
You may remember they had an Israeli astronaut in it, and that was a big deal.
Why?
Well, because in the Jewish tradition, they want to have the remains. And because when the Challenger blew up, obviously the remains are scattered over Texas and probably New Mexico and Louisiana. So that was a very difficult thing. And this is also true in the various fightings that have gone on in Israel and in the Middle East, where the return of the bodies becomes a very big issue, which I don't understand the subtleties of all that, because in my understanding, there's not even, in the Jewish tradition, there's not even a thing like the Christian tradition where, there's a world beyond the world. So, okay.
Epicure.
The
Each one
Epicurus and
has.
his followers,
Okay.
who with body mortal make the soul.
Who's
Sorry. Go ahead.
Epicure? No, I'm just talking to myself.
Okay.
No, this,
Is it a private conversation?
no. Just saying the name. Oh, I think this is one for John. This is one for him.
Next time, John.
Epicurus. I think Dante would have, and his contemporaries would have gotten most of their knowledge about Epicureanism from Cicero. Cicero wrote a work, the ends or the limits of good and evil, and he gives a fairly long summary of Epicureanism in that. But Epicurus had the theory that all matter is composed of little invisible things called atoms, and it's a combination of atoms that form things. And he therefore was a complete materialist, that he explained everything in terms of matter. So for just one example, these atoms are flying off of everything. So they fly off of a Ferrari, and these atoms, enough for these Ferrari atoms, hit your eyeball, and that makes you see a Ferrari. But things could get in the way, and that explains how maybe you get it mixed up and you think it's some other kind of car. So everything comes down to matter, and so would the soul. So it's a logical conclusion that since the soul is material, with death, the soul also, the atoms disperse, and that's the end of it. And I think that's probably what led him to that. Epicureanism gets a bad rap, and it gets linked with hedonism.
Yes.
Because of this idea of pleasure. But Epicurus says, we only have fragments of him, but he says things like, if you can't be satisfied with a little, you'll never be satisfied, and talks about how friendship is the highest good,
Yes.
things like that. That his morals may not follow logically from his physics, but he himself had a very high sense of ethics, or at least that's
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
what he published. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess the big thing here would be the soul not continuing to exist. I
Thank you.
guess that would
Thank you
be the
for
big
putting.
heresy.
I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. Please finish, Joe or John.
Yeah, I'm finished.
I just wanted to piggyback on what you said, and thank you for putting in a good word for the Epicureans, because I think they've gotten a lot of bad press. And when people think of Epicureans, they think of kind of Sybarites who are wallowing in the mud of pleasure and catering to sort of our lowest and basest physical instincts, and it's much more than that. And thanks. That was great. It was just a question B for you. Was Lucretius an Epicurean?
Yes.
He was. Okay.
And yeah, there's really nothing like Lucretius. My best friend from grad school loves him. I can't stand him to
Okay.
read him. Not so much what he says, but the poetry doesn't work for me.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a book a few years ago, The Swerve, that
Yeah.
I think gave way too much credit to Lucretius's influence in the Renaissance. His manuscripts were discovered for the first time in the Renaissance, and he became very popular. But I think he became popular because his views went along with what learned people already were feeling. I don't think that they read Lucretius and suddenly light bulbs went off in their heads. So I think the author of that book gives Lucretius too much credit for influencing thought, where I think it's more that he said things that they agreed with. He gives detailed examples of how atoms work. There must be these invisible things. How come when you put your laundry out, it dries? You don't see the water going anywhere. Or people touch a statue's foot for good luck, and eventually that part of the statue starts to shine the way the rest of it doesn't. Well, something's happened there. And he goes on and on with examples. He's got a very vivid imagination. Fabulous images.
Okay.
On the business of the resurrection of the body, which we had touched upon earlier, while you were discussing, I checked out the Apostles' Creed. For those of us who are lapsed Catholic or practicing, you've actually sworn as a statement of faith that you believe in it,
So the Epicureanism is related to the pleasures of the body and the soul. Because pleasure, hedonism.
Right. Here's a little note that in the Convivio, Dante discusses the school of Epicurus in positive terms. So this is a change in Dante's attitude towards Epicurus to put him in the heretics. I think that's, and this is the only heresy that that Dante really discusses in the Canto 10, which is about heretics.
Heretics.
Correct, as opposed to schismatics, correct? Which who get another chapter, who get another canto, right?
Yeah, schismatic is a disagreement about
Right.
Christian doctrine, right?
Well, they break away, I think.
They make a schism in the doctrine, as opposed to the heretics are they reject it altogether. They reject something very important in Christianity altogether, like that there's a soul after death and the resurrection of the body. According to Barolini, the Epicureans are not only they're total non-believers and are kind of equivalent to the modern day atheist.
So John, would it be fair to call them, not in terms of their ethics, but in terms of their metaphysics, materialists?
That's what, yeah, I would use that term.
Okay.
And they're kind of proving to be right, aren't they? I mean, 200 years ago, you didn't treat depression with drugs.
Yeah.
So we're finding more and more that emotional things have some physical basis.
Right. And John, just because you were good enough to talk a bit about the Epicureans, help me out here. My understanding is that on the pleasure thing, I thought that it was simply an observation that we tend to be motivated by pleasure, and are attracted by pleasure, and just as an observation, do our best to avoid pain. Is that correct? Is an observation?
Yeah, I think maybe the question is what a real Epicurean would consider pleasure.
Right. Okay.
And like Lucretius has a big section about love or sex and all the stupid things people do that really aren't pleasurable. That so I think that identifying what really is a pleasure, and it's not decadence. It's
right. Like friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Epicurus is very big on friendship.
What we would call pleasures that can go on and on and on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true pleasures rather than. I'm going to see if I can quickly get something here. If let me see. Yeah, if there's a way to give me the screen for a minute. This
Yeah,
is
hold
a
on a second.
translation of some Lucretius.
Okay, so I go to share screen, and then it should give me some share sound. I think what I will do, John, let me back out of here. Let me move that out. And I think make host, put in waiting room. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make you the host. And then you can call up the share screen.
Okay.
Okay. And you should be able to go down to the bottom, and you should have a menu choice on the bottom that says share screen.
Okay, there's share screen. And yeah, I don't know whose translation this is because I just called it up, but this is Lucretius early in the poem. praising. Can I make that bigger?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Well, let's see.
Praising Epicurus. So when to all eyes men's life lay foully crushed throughout the land beneath the heavy burden of religion, who from heavenly regions would show her head, menacing mortal men with her hideous face. A Greek man was the first who dared raise his mortal eyes against her, the first one to oppose her, undeterred by stories of the gods, by lightning strikes, or menacing rumbles from the heavens. Instead, with even greater eagerness, he roused his spirit's keen intelligence to answer his desire to be the first to break the narrow bolts of nature's doors. So that's a pretty forceful statement on Lucretius's take on Epicurus, basically
Yeah,
freeing
he's,
people
he's
from.
making him a culture hero,
Yeah, yeah.
a revolutionary.
And then a little bit further down, as an example of the evil that religion has done, Lucretius invokes Agamemnon sacrificing his daughter Iphigenia
Vietnam.
so that the Greeks can sail to Troy.
Mm-hmm.
He says this is what religion can do, and Epicurus is liberating us from that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. All righty. So have we raked this section over enough to go on to the next reader?
Yeah.
I think we're definitely up to line 15.
I think I finished at 21, Duncan.
Okay. Well, I'm just talking about it in our discussion.
Oh, sorry, in discussion, of course.
But in the question thou dost put to me, wherein here shall thou soon be satisfied, and likewise in the wish thou keepest silent. So
So I think he's talking there about the little game Virgil plays, because Virgil anticipates questions in some cases before they're asked, and freaks Dante out perhaps a little bit. Likewise, thy hidden wish to me unfold. So he's kind of digging into Dante's mind there.
So okay. So Dante didn't really ask the question out loud.
I think it's two. I think there's one that gets asked and one that is still in the queue in the on deck circle, but Dante figures that one out, even though it is as of yet being unasked.
Okay, yeah,
That's my
because they're
There's two
19 through.
questions.
Yeah,
There's two.
I got it because 19 through 21 gives the game away. Dante's response to Virgil's thing about.
Yeah, because back in line 6, 7, Dante is saying the people who are lying in these tombs, might they be
Right.
seen already? So he's wondering who they are or why. What did they do?
Okay.
I was just fascinated that there was like 1,000 in each one. I suppose they need the space.
That there was a what in each one?
There was like up to 1,000 in each, buried in each one.
Oh, I think there's thousands in the area.
Do you think thousands in the area?
I think there's two.
The two of them come up with the same place.
There's two in that particular sepulcher, is my understanding.
Okay.
But they're in like a cemetery. They're like a cemetery. 13. Their cemetery have upon its side with Epicurus all his followers. But I think in the particular tomb that Epicurus himself is in, there's another person.
There is, yeah. 20, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
20.
Going back to David's point there, so 19 through 21, and I, good leader, I but keep concealed from thee my heart, that I may speak the less. And then I don't understand the last line, nor only now hast thou thereto disposed me.
Is this line 21?
Yeah.
Bianca? Yeah. In mine, and I, O my good guide, I do not hide my heart. I am trying not to talk too much, as you told me more than once to do.
Mm-hmm. And then in 21 in in the Longfellow translation, nor only now hast thou thereto disposed me, found me out. So he's acknowledging that, he's done this before, and Virgil somehow always figures out what's going on inside of him. Okay, who's the next reader after Anne? Is that me? Who's that?
John.
I think I
John.
am, maybe.
Yep.
O
Onward.
Tuscan, thou who through the city of fire goest alive, thus speaking modestly, be pleased to stay thy footsteps in this place. Thy mode of speaking makes thee manifest, a native of that noble fatherland, to which perhaps I too molestful was. Upon a sudden issued forth this sound from out one of the tombs, wherefore I pressed, fearing a little nearer to my leader. And unto me he said, Turn thee, what dost thou? Behold there Farinata, who has risen. From thee waist upwards, wholly shalt thou see him.
Okay.
Farinata.
So now we have Farinata.
Mm-hmm.
Farinata.
There he is.
Farinata that was in his thumb from the waist up.
Yeah, he was a Ghibelline.
Farinata de Uberti. I think he was a Ghibellino also.
Yeah.
He saved the city of Firenze from the fire. The winners of the Battle of Montaperti, credo, they wanted to put fire on the city. And so he defended the city against this fire.
He
Mm.
does say that actually.
This looks like, okay, here's the William Blake version. Okay. Here, I'm gonna take back the share screen here. John, you ended your share screen?
Yes.
Okay. I think you have to make me host again, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh. Okay, how do I do that?
You would go up to my frame and go up to the three buttons, the three dots in the right-hand corner. See me? You see me?
Yeah.
Where I am. Go to where I am, and then in my
Okay.
frame, go up to where
Make
there's
host.
make host. Okay. So then I will go share screen, and I will go. Okay. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, this is the William Blake version. And let's see here. So I think there's Dante. And then here must be Farinata. And then this must be, well, one of these are
Oh, Dante.
Epicurus and one of them is Farinata.
Farinata, and yeah, because it says at some stage that he just puts his head up as if he was kneeling.
Yeah, so this must be Farinata here.
No,
And
I
this-
think the first guy is Farinata because he saw him from his waist up. And the other
Okay.
guy is his friend's father,
Okay.
Guido something or other.
Guido Cavalcanti.
Thank you.
Farinata is this one from a half body, showing his half body.
Yeah, from the waist upwards, Holy Shell, line
Waist up.
33.
Okay. Okay. All right, I'm gonna turn this photo off now. Okay. Let me go here. So this is Farinata in line 21, who's referring to Dante as a Tuscan. Is not Florence inside of Tuscany?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's the area.
so this is Farinata addressing Dante. Oh, Tuscan Dante, thou who through the city of fire goest alive, thus speaking modestly, please be pleased to stay thy footsteps in this place. Okay, John, you want to go ahead and continue reading a little bit?
Okay. I had already fixed mine eyes on his, and he uprose erect with breast and front, e'en as if hell he had in great despite. And with courageous hands and prompt my leader thrust me between the sepulchres towards him, exclaiming, let thy words explicit be. As soon as I was at the foot of his tomb, somewhat he eyed me, and as if disdainful, then asked of me who were thine ancestors. I think that's a good stopping point. I'm puzzled by this explicit.
Farinata asks him who were his ancestors.
Yeah.
What was his family in Florence? Maybe also politically about he was the Guelphs.
Yeah,
Guelph.
seems completely political.
Yeah.
So I think what he's asking here is which side were your ancestors on?
Yeah,
because he was a Ghibelline.
Farinata was a Ghibelline, and Dante was Guelph, white Guelph. They were also colors, white Guelph. Many fashions. Dante was related to the emperor, Frederick II. And the Ghibelliners were related to the Pope, because the states of the Pope were very strong in Italy. And the Holy Roman Empire, at the time ruled by Frederick II, possessed a great part of the north of Italy. And they are constantly in wars. The papal states were in wars with the Holy Roman Empire.
So we are basically, as usually described in Canto 10, we are in the realm of the heresiarchs, the heretics.
Heresiarchs.
So is there
Right.
an implication here that because Farinata, first question is who is your family?
Yeah.
Is there an implication here that that's a kind of heresy as well? To be so political that even in these circumstances, that's your primary concern is knowing what political party the person you're talking to is?
Maybe political issues were not good things for the Catholic religion.
Well, in much of the Commedia, it's a question of balance. And so what's on my mind is because, here we are in hell and Dante's with Virgil and there's this guy Farinata and he's concerned with Dante's political position,
Yeah.
which at least in my mind I can imagine is a type of heresy.
Maybe the church didn't want it to mix religion and politics. Maybe just my guess.
Yeah, well, my concern here is actually with Dante, and I'm wondering, this seems to be what Dante's attitude was. That not so much the mixing, and I'm thinking about our contemporary situation where we have Christians who are acting in very unchristian-like ways because of their politics. John, are you satisfied with your reading, or should I?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the bigger issue you just raised. I think one of the things that we see in the Inferno is that you can commit uh, a a religious sin or a faith sin, and that uh, is greater than any good you did. That
Mhm.
you can do good in a lot of ways, but if you have a flaw, you're going to end up in the Inferno. Because there are people down the road for whom Dante has real affection uh,
Mhm.
and respect and admiration, but because of various sins they committed, they're in the Inferno.
Mhm.
Uh, but I'm not sure with Farinata, since he would have been on the opposite side politically from Dante. I, I'm not sure uh, if Dante respects him or dislikes him. I can't really get a sense on what Dante's attitude toward Farinata is.
I'm going to assume that he did not respect him, but that he was more interested. That actually Dante, while still being a little political, I think that he's so even at this early stage is so changed by his journey through hell with Virgil that he's not obsessed with the politics.
Mm-hmm.
let's see here. He certainly, John, is whatever his feelings is unwilling to give Farinata the last word. Farinata says, we put you on the run a couple of times, and Dante said, essentially, he who laughs last laughs best, right? Because you didn't learn your lesson, and then what happened to you? We haven't read those lines yet, but
in line 46 to 49, it seems that Farinata banished Dante and his family and his parents.
right.
I can understand very well, but I don't know who was banished. If it's Dante or Farinata or one or the other.
Well, we have to figure out who's talking. So we know in line 42 that's Farinata. Ask Dante, who were thine ancestors?
Yeah.
Right.
Who was banished?
So let's go ahead and pass the reading baton on, and then every time there is a pronoun that isn't obvious, let's try to identify who is that pronoun. So who is the next reader?
I think
Yeah, that's right.
line 42, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as I was at the foot of his tomb, somewhat he eyed me, and as if disdainful, then asked of me, who were thy ancestors? Okay. I, who desirous of obeying was, concealed it not, but all revealed to him, whereat he raised his brows a little upward. Then said he, fiercely adverse have they been to me, and to my fathers and my party, so that 2 several times I scattered them. If they were banished, they returned on all sides. I answered him, the first time and the second, but yours have not acquired the art of right. Then there uprose upon the side uncovered, down to the chin, a shadow at the side. I think that he had risen in his knees.
Okay.
Round me he gazed, as if solicitude he had to see if someone else were with me. But after his suspicion was all spent, weeping, he said to me, if through his blind reason thou goes by loftiness of genius, where is my son? And why is he not with thee?
Okay,
And
so Decio, let's stop there because I think we need to go back and we need to talk about at least in my mind, Farinata starts talking and he continues to talk until line 50. And then we have Dante answered him the first time. Okay. And Dante says to Farinata, but yours have not acquired that art aright.
Mhm.
So does this mean that Farinata's family was also banished, but they weren't able to return?
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think the after the second time that the Guelphs gained the advantage, they kept it. Had a note somewhere.
That's what my notes are saying too, John.
Mhm.
Yes, there was this back and forth, I think, but ultimately the Uberti palaces were razed to the ground, and they pronounced relentless decrees of exile against the whole family. Farinata himself was condemned for heresy in 1283.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much here to discuss, but maybe I could just start by saying this must have been horrible, because if you don't come from the right family at the right time, you're out of town. Or you know, you've got this civil strife where one
Mhm.
side is relentlessly and brutally murdering the others on the battlefield, you know. And this is just very far from our experience. I mean, we talk about in the West, I talk to US, Canada, Europe, how divisive politics are, but nothing like this. This is, it's like a civil war.
Yes, a long civil war.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Hatfields and McCoys and on steroids.
At large, exactly.
See.
So here's the Hollander note, where Hollander refers to Dante as the little Guelph. But now the little Guelph bites back. Our family was twice exiled and came back twice. Yours has not done quite so well. And then in parentheses, since the Umberti, which that's Farinata, have remained in exile since the aftermath of the Battle of Benevento in 1266. Okay, so that's a clapback right there.
There is two battles, the Battle of Monteperti and Benevento.
Oh, there are two battles. Okay.
Two battles.
Okay. And so that's the end of the interaction right there between Farinata and Dante, and now we have a new soul entering.
Cavalcante.
Guido Cavalcanti.
All right. Great.
And then Farinata come back again at the end.
Okay. Okay. So okay, who's the next reader?
You, I think.
Yeah, and who's after me?
Me.
Sylvia.
Dave?
Sylvia.
I think Sylvia first, and then
Okay. All right. Sylvia, why don't you read from
Where? From where?
I would say line 52, because that's a change of scene.
Oh, just then along the same tomb's open ledge, a shade appeared, but just down to his chin, beside this other. I think he got up kneeling. He looked around as though he hoped to see if someone else perhaps had come with me. And when his expectation was deceived, he started weeping. If it be great genius that carries you along this blind jail, where is my son? Why is he not with you? I do not come alone, I said to him. That one waiting over there guides me through here. That one. Perhaps your Guido held in scorn. The place of pain assigned him, and what he asked already had revealed his name to me and made my pointed answer possible. Instantly he sprang to his full height and cried, What did you say? He held? Is he not living? The day's sweet light no longer strikes his eyes. And when he heard the silence of my delay responding to his question, he collapsed into his tomb, not to be seen again.
Okay. I think that's a good chunk right there.
It's all to do with Cavalcante.
So he finds Cavalcanti, and Cavalcanti asks about his son,
Mhm.
Guido.
Mhm.
He thought he was with Dante, but he is not.
Yep.
I think this is another question. Once again, I think it's useful to focus on the fact that, like these souls are just hanging out. They don't get a whole lot of chance to ask anybody any questions. So, and we had in the Farinata thing, he wanted to know who Dante's family was, which I think implies a very political um,
Yep.
stance in the world. And then when we have, I guess this is Cavalcante. And Cavalcante's question is about his son,
Yep.
which is
With
more concerned with family than anything else.
His son a famous poet as well at the same time as Dante, Guido
Mm-hmm.
Cavalcanti. So I think in line 59 he says, "Prison thou goes by loftiness of genius." So obviously he's acknowledging, he thinks that Dante is there because he's a genius. So he's wondering why his son isn't with him.
Cavalcanti asked
Okay.
also if his son was still alive.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, Anne. I see what Anne is saying. If through this blind prison thou goest by loftiness of genius. See, my interpretation was he's going by the loftiness of Virgil. But
Okay.
Anne is saying no, he's talking about Dante's genius.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Look it up.
Okay, that's good. I think your interpretation of that, Anne, is correct, or at least better than mine.
Because he seems to be looking at Dante right before he speaks, at least in my translation. The spirit, moved its eyes round about me as though it sought to win sight of some person in my company. So I would
Mm-hmm.
as well, Duncan, that the comments are directed to Dante, and that if it's Dante's great art that has earned him a, a free ticket to the inferno, how come
Mm-hmm.
my son's not with you?
Yeah, I know my son is at least as good as you, Dante.
That's a little bit of pride there.
Exactly.
But it says in mine that that Cavalcanti's son Guido was a friend of Dante's.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were both poets.
And he was a renowned thinker. And the thing that settled the conflict between the Guelphs and the Ghibellines was that Guido married Beatrice, daughter of the Ghibelline Farinata, and sealed the peace between the two factions. I don't know. And
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, this is an interpretation. Yeah.
no. But it's very good, Sylvia, because that has hit me to the fact that Farinata and Cavalcante are from different political parties,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they're
And
stuck in the same sepulcher
Yeah.
forever.
Because they're
Same, same
but
cemetery.
their children married, and Guido died in August 1300. It says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, but this is okay. Yes, he did. He did die. Okay, according to Hollander, it says. So first of all, we have Farinata, and Farinata is a Ghibelline.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so you got your Ghibellines and your Guelphs. And so Guido married Beatrice, which gave a kind of truce situation between the Ghibellines and the Guelphs. But then it goes on where the Guelphs broke into two parts, a white Guelph and a black Guelph.
Oh,
And Guido was killed in a street fight with the leader of the Black Guelphs. This
oh.
is the Hollander note right here. Guido was an ardent Guelph, siding with the whites, Dante's party also. When the Guelphs divided into two factions, he had a street brawl with the leader of the Black Guelphs, Corso Donati, who had once tried to kill him. Okay, he didn't kill him. He tried to kill him.
Right, because I'm actually looking at the Wikipedia entry on him, and it said Guido Cavalcanti died of fever, probably malaria, in August of the same year in his journey home. So that would be 1300.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, the note I have, Farinata died in 1264, and this marriage took place in 1267. So he was not a part of any negotiations that led to that marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That's actually a very interesting point, John.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why I think that's an interesting point, because as we're going to find out, these people, now correct me if I'm wrong, but these people in the grave can see the future, but they can't see the present.
Yep.
Right.
All of them in hell. Yeah.
And so and I'm reaching here, but if Farinata could see the future, but he couldn't see the present, that this is a really tricky time thing. He probably does not know that the Ghibellines and the Guelphs made a truce through that marriage. And so from his point of view, he is in a tomb with an opponent. Does that make any sense?
yes.
mhm.
And somewhere it talks about the haughtiness and the intellectual pride of Farinata, and
Mhm.
and he just ignored Cavalcante. He ignored him when he was trying to talk or something like that.
Yeah, that's at line 73. We'll see that.
Mm.
Became worse on delay, which before my answer, he fell back again. But the other, which would have been Farinata,
Mhm. I think Farinata didn't even take any notes of Cavalcante speaking. He just continued from where he stopped back in wherever.
Mm. Mm.
50, no, they were banished probably what,
Yeah.
48. He just continued on from there. Yeah, and if
Okay.
in line 76, and if continuing his first discourse, this is, I assume, Farinata continuing to speak.
So he makes no acknowledgement
No,
that Cavalcante was
even,
there or said anything.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because line 76 is actually the
Mm.
answer to the question back on
around 48. The statement that Dante made to him.
Yeah, that your family didn't master the art. My family got back twice, but somehow your
Mm.
family didn't catch it.
Exactly.
And that's back on that's on line 51.
Yeah.
And then we have we had the conversation between Cavalcante and Dante. God, this is so freaking sophisticated.
And there's something about you 63.
Mhm.
That one over there that your Guido held in scorn. And this comes back to the religiosity question. They were on opposite sides. That's why he scorned Virgil. I don't know. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't understand that line.
Oh, it's really an interesting. I mean, Dante's being a little nasty here. If you look at line 60, and I to him, okay, so Dante to Cavalcante, I come not of myself. He who is waiting yonder leads me here.
Mm.
Whom in disdain perhaps your Guido had.
Yeah.
So he's kind of saying, well, maybe Guido's not here because Guido treated
Wasn't good enough.
Virgil nasty and Virgil ain't going to bring him here. So take that.
Mm.
That's actually pretty nasty of Dante, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to see why any poet would hold Virgil in disdain.
But I think it's because, according to this guy, that he saw Guido saw Virgil as a symbol of classicism or of religiosity. But they also say that the commentators are not in agreement about this whole thing.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have the same thing, Sylvia. It says
Mm.
passage has been much disputed,
Mm.
and it adds as another possible objection that Guido might have to Virgil. It would be Virgil's imperialism as a Guelph,
Mm.
he would not have liked Virgil's imperialism. Is another possibility added to the two that you gave.
And was Virgil a Guelph?
No,
well?
Virgil
he
was
was
long
imperialist.
before there was anything like Guelphs and
Oh
Ghibellines.
no.
But he wasn't from Florence either.
Oh, right.
Well, I don't know. Where was Virgil from?
I know I'm going to have to look it up again.
Mantua, I think. Is that right,
Oh,
John?
That's it.
Yes.
Is Virgil
Yep.
from Mantua?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I want to go back and focus on that sentence there because let me find it. Where's my son? Oh yes, line 62 of 61 through 63. This is really amazing. I mean, I should go and look at a number of translations, and including the original Italian. But it makes it very curious as to me. Why would Dante say this? Why would Dante be so offhanded as to say, "Well, your son's not here because maybe he didn't, he didn't treat Virgil right,"
Right.
and I did. The implication is I did.
Which Duncan, if you parse that out a bit, that's not actually true either. Dante's there because Beatrice intervened for him. Isn't that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, yeah, of course. That's why I say this is a very curious thing that Dante would say this.
Right.
And I have no explanation of why he would, you know.
But you're thinking that it's, I'm gathering from what you say, though, you're thinking that it's a bit abrupt and cruel, to put it that way.
Yes, yes, exactly. It's not very Dante-like.
The
No.
one.
I think I would put it in the category of a gratuitous negative statement. But keep in mind, I'm actually focusing and wrestling with this for the first time. I never noticed this before.
But in this one, it has has anybody got this? Some commentators offering a different interpretation of the syntax of these two lines, brackets, to make the line mean that Virgil was leading the pilgrim, and then inverted commas, to her whom, close inverted commas, Guido perhaps held in scorn, believe that it is Beatrice whom Guido scorned. Most believe that the object of Guido's attitude is Virgil, and I agree with the latter critics.
And apparently Longfellow did also, because he uses the masculine pronoun he.
Yeah. So,
But it is true. What was that thing? Oh yeah.
but I think
Guido married a Beatrice, not Dante's Beatrice.
no,
Mhm.
she was
There's another Beatrice.
Another Beatrice.
she was Ghibelline Farinata. So, but I think yeah.
Okay, here I've got a thing. This is a Hollander note, and I'm jumping in the middle of it. And this is available on the Dante Lab at Dartmouth. At a certain point in his relations with Dante, or at least after Beatrice's death, when Dante continued to write of her, Guido did come to have disdain for Dante's loyalty to Beatrice. In short, Dante, the protagonist, is thinking of Guido's climactic rejection of Beatrice as a definite past event, one perhaps precisely reflected in a sonnet Guido wrote to Dante expressing his disgust with his former friend.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Hollander says, why did Dante say that, verse 63? Had Guido scorned someone habitually, the use of the imperfect would have been more likely. Those who believed that his scorn was for Virgil, roughly half of those who involved themselves in this quarrel, are right to be puzzled. For such a scornful view of the Latin poet would not seem to have been a sudden shift of attitude. And in fact, there is no Virgilian element in any of Guido's poems.
So he was a poet, this Guido.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This,
Yeah, which is why the father thinks that if Dante the poet is walking around in the Inferno, it was probably because of his being a genius poet, and he knew his son was at least as good a poet as Dante. So why isn't his son there?
mm,
Which is, in a way, the way that Dante the writer portrays it, Dante the poet portrays that meeting, is a bit of a poke at the father to think that his son is just as good as Dante when most of us know about Guido Cavalcante only through the Inferno, the book that Dante's written that most people know about. It's complicated, but it shows that the father's, being unduly boastful about his son's prowess because most of us have never heard of him.
Yeah, well, and this is part of what I was saying before, that if Farinata is down there because he basically put politics over religion, or politics over his the salvation of his soul. That Cavalcante is another type of heretic in the sense that he puts his son and his family above the salvation of his soul. I'm stretching things a bit there, but I mean, since they are in the realm of the heretics, and since the definition of a heretic is someone who values something more than the religion to save his soul. Yeah, you can tell that I'm struggling with this.
mm.
I haven't got it completely thought out, and I could be wrong, but I think it's at least worth thinking about. Why is Cavalcanti in the heretics? Why is Farinata in the heretics?
Because they were Epicureans, according to somebody here. Did John say that as well?
Yeah. He did say the Epicureans were over there,
Yeah.
and he was giving a guided tour at the start.
Okay.
So we assume that they are. This is way back in what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, line 13.
Let me see if I can
Mm.
find.
Sorry, my friends, I need to leave the group.
Oh,
Okay.
Next
Well,
time.
we're
care.
glad you came. And tomorrow night we're going to be doing Ulysses. And
9 o'clock, 9 p.m.
yeah, and you can send the
Okay,
Zoom information to your friend
that's
in
it. Yes, yes,
Pakistan.
that's right.
See if
Okay,
he can make it this time.
thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you
Take
for
care.
coming. It's
Bye.
great.
It is,
Sorry about it.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Okay, here is we'll just go for a little bit longer, and then we'll close this down too. This is from Barolini, and this is apparently connected with some remarks by Boccaccio, the Decameron author. Boccaccio makes very clear that to be Epicurean equates with being a non-believer. Writing that Guido Cavalcanti held Epicurean positions, and that therefore it was said that he was seeking to show that God did not exist. And since he tended to prescribe to the ideas of Epicureans, it was said among the common herd that these speculations of his were exclusively concerned with whether it could be shown that God did not exist. Okay. And being an arrogant fellow, I still like I can certainly see that Cavalcante could be an Epicurean, but I still like, for the present, my explanation that Farinata and Cavalcanti are not there because they're Epicureans, but they're there because they put something secular above the salvation of their soul. In Farinata's case, he's putting party above the salvation of his soul. And in Cavalcante's case, he's putting family above the salvation of his soul. And hopefully I'm not making a heretic out of myself by saying that. Does that make any sense to anybody else besides me?
My brain is nearly fried with this.
There's a lot there. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll wrap it up for now, but I will tell you that we are heading very soon towards Canto 11. And that is going to be a very challenging and important canto, which I will not be surprised. I think we'll spend at least 2 sessions on it and maybe more, because it actually is going to go very deep into the structure of the Inferno.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Can I ask a question? Is John okay, John?
Yes. Thank you for asking. I was going to ask the same.
Yes, he sent a note saying that he couldn't be at the beginning. He might come towards the end, but that he
Oh,
had a doctor's appointment.
Okay. It's good news.
okay.
Thank you for
That's yeah.
So
Okay.
he was good enough that he sent a explanation in the beginning and expressed a desire that he hoped that he could join us before the meeting was over today.
Oh, and where's Dee Dee today? She's off.
She has guessed.
Oh,
She sent. I just found out after the meeting started that she had sent me an email because I was concerned. She's very
yeah.
regular.
Yes.
But she did send an email and said that she unfortunately couldn't be with us because she had guests. And John, you were going to say something about John the Younger as well?
Just the same thing you said. Because
Okay.
he copied me on that email.
Oh, okay. Okay. So lots of fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Very challenging.
Yeah, but good. Very good.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, I will say goodbye and thank you for now.
Thank you.
And we
Yeah.
will gather again. And I'm going to probably do a little bit of study myself on Canto 10 and look at 11 again.
And we get an early night next week so that we'll be ready. He won't be tired.
Okay.
Onward.
He won't be tired, Sylvia.
Okay. Later.